Hello students and welcome back to the video lecture series of software engineering. Today's topic is DevOps. I am your instructor Ms. Shruti Raval. So let us start with today's lecture. The first question that comes into your mind while listening this name is, what do you mean by DevOps? Now, basically DevOps is combination of two different genres in software engineering industry. So the first genre in DevOps is the development, that is your software development, and the second genre to which it belongs is IT operations. Now you may think that software engineering as a whole is an activity, or this development and operations are one and the same thing, but that is not correct. Development totally differs from operations, that we will see in a short time. So what do you mean by DevOps? When you combine both this word, that is you combine the development with your operational staff, and if they work collaboratively, that sort of collaboration of development and operations is known as DevOps. But it is not only limited to the collaboration of development and operations. Instead, it is all the practices that you have to perform from the starting till end, that is while you are starting the analysis of the software, and if you are in the maintenance phase where you are getting the updates or changes in your software after the deployment also, till that you have to follow certain practices, you have to follow certain principles, and you have to use the automated tools which are available, and the combination of all of this is known as DevOps. So as I told you, there is a developer team. Now we will see what are the different tasks that a developer teams do, and there is another team which is known as operational team. So there are two groups of people in any software company, the developer team as well as the operational team. When we combine both of them, so here you can see the addition sign, we are combining the development team and operational teams, and collaboratively they are working from the starting of the software, and this all practices, principles and collaboration along with the tools that they are using is known as DevOps. So here you can see what are the tasks that a development team does. So the basic planning of the software, that why is this software needed. After the analysis or planning part, you know that you come to code, right? So the actual coding of the software happens. After the coding part, you are building the software, right? And then you are testing the software. So this analysis, that is planning, code, build and test, that all the task comprises of the activity that you can tell as software development. Whereas on the other hand, if you are talking about the operations teams are responsible for the release of the software, for the deployment in a particular environment of the software, for the operations of the software, and to monitor whether the thing that was working in the development environment, whether it is working properly in the actual deployment environment or not. Okay, so these are the two different task set of the development team as well as the operations team. Now when we talk about DevOps, we are just combining the work of both of them. Now you may wonder that, ma'am, what is the need of DevOps? Let us go into the flashback of software industry when it was earlier, when there was no DevOps. What happened? For example, if you are building a cleaning robot. Now what do you mean by a cleaning robot? You're building a robot which cleans your house and stuff, right? So now the development team was rigorously working on the cleaning robot. So they have planned the actual circuitry of the robot. They have coded the robot to clean certain areas of your room, right? And now they are in the testing phase. So they have tested the robot in a controlled environment in the room which they have, right? So till then the robot was working fine. So the task of development team is completed because they have built the robot exactly as they wanted, and the robot is working very fine. It is cleaning each and everything that they wanted. Now what happens, because this robot is completed, now this robot is handed over to the operational team. So the task of development team in the early age was completed when they are just giving it to the operational team, right? Now when was this happening? After all the testing is completed at the development level, the developers were handing over their software, or you can say in this case the robot, to the operational team. Now what happens, this operational teams actually takes this robot into the deployment environment or to the actual scenarios where the robot is supposed to clean the stuff, right? So what happens when they take this robot to the actual room of some person where this robot is supposed to clean, the real life condition differs from the controlled environment test conditions. So there is a lot of furniture which the development team did not take into consideration while planning of developing this cleaning robot. So what happens, there are certain limitations of this cleaning robot that in the real life it cannot go to the edges or corners of this furniture. So what happened, now the client which actually needs the robot is denying to use this robot. All the circuitry is completed, all the coding is completed. Now what does the operational team do? The operational team brings this robot to the development team, hands over it and tells that our robot is not fully prepared for the real life environment or deployment. Our client is not satisfied, you need to redo or rework on your designing, you need to rework on the real life conditions. Now what will happen, obviously the development team will get frustrated. Why so? Because from the starting of the development cycle, if they knew that this were the real life deployment condition, they would have designed their robot or the circuitry according to the real life conditions, right? So why is this gap? Because never did the development team work in collaboration with the operational team. So when in software industry this sort of hurdles and roadblocks came into existence, then this concept of DevOps came into market. So in this DevOps concept, what happens, from the starting of the analysis phase, we are working collaboratively with the operational teams and the real life environment so that all the changes, whatever we are making inside our software, we are just testing it into the real life environment. So as soon as we test that things into the real life environment, we get to know what actual changes need to be applied in my current software, so that we don't get to know all the changes at once after we deploy the software or at the end of the software. So this was the main concern why this DevOps came into existence. Now what are the benefits of DevOps? There are certain benefits of DevOps. I have just classified the benefits of DevOps into genre. The first genre of benefits of DevOps is technical benefits. Let us see what are the technical benefits. The first is continuous software delivery. Now, as I told you that because the development team is working along with the operational team, because whatever you are building or whatever you are coding, you are testing in the development environment. As soon as it is tested in the development environment, you are deploying or testing that thing into the operational environment, the actual or real life environment. So what happens, the client gets the continuous delivery of the software. So that is obviously beneficial for any software. Okay. The next is less complexity to manage, because we are not giving everything at once. We are giving it in small packages. That is, whatever changes we are doing in the software, we are committing it, we are building it, we are testing it in the development as well as the operational environment. So what happens, if you divide the whole task into subtasks, obviously the sub is better than the whole to manage. So there is less complexity to manage. The next you can say benefit is faster resolution of problems. Again, if you have a problem which is an integrated problem, like you have a whole thing and there is a small tiny problem in this whole complex integrated thing, you will not be able to find that problem. Instead, if you have divided the task or divided the functions, and if you have a small problem in any one function, that particular problem in that particular function will be easier to resolve. So obviously there will be faster resolution of problems. You will be maximizing the efficiency using automation. So in the next few slides, we will see that DevOps is not only one thing, it is a collaboration or it is a combination of different things. And one of the major factor which is helping in DevOps is automation. What do you mean by automation in software industry? Automation is all the manual task or any manual task that is currently performed by the humans. If you are just using any machine or software for performing that task, then you can say that you are using an automation tools. There are different automation tools available for, let's say, planning, for project management, for configuration management, for testing, etc. Right? So DevOps obviously emphasizes on using these automation tools. So whenever you are using these automation tools, obviously the efficiency of your work will be maximized because the time will be reduced. There is no human intervention needed. Okay, so these were all the technical benefits of using DevOps in your software company. The next is cultural benefits. This is the next genre of benefits for DevOps. The first is you will have more happier and more productive teams. So as in my previous example, you got to know that once the robot is inefficient in the real life environment and it is handed back to your development team, obviously your development team is frustrated, your operational team is also not happy. So there are more frustrated and frenzied environment if you are not collaboratively working. Instead of that, if you are using the DevOps, because you are collaboratively working, everything is deployed, everything is tested in the actual environment. So what happens, all the changes are made very fast. So all the production teams as well as the development team, they are much happier. Also, because you are using DevOps, if there is a collaboration between all the team members, you will have your higher employee engagement, because the employees which are on the higher level, let's say manager, your project manager, so the development team project manager will have to communicate with the operational team project manager. So there will be higher engagement and we will get expertise wherever needed, right? Also, greater professional development opportunities. So whenever these two things are collaborated, that is development team is working with the operational teams, we will get some knowledge interchange between us. So we will have more development opportunity for oneself. Okay. So this all are the cultural benefits that we get from the DevOps. The next is business benefits. So this is the next genre of benefits if you are using DevOps. The first is obviously we will have faster delivery of features, because as soon as we are implementing one feature, we are as a development team are testing in the development environment as well as giving it to the operational environment, testing in the real environment, or you can say operational environment. So the client is getting the features very faster. The next is more stable operating environments, because in the initial days when this DevOps was not in all in the existence, what happened, the development environment also did not use any tools. But in today's era, you have such powerful tools which gives you this whole, you can say, environment. Let's say for example, there is a development environment which has certain dependencies. We will see again in the next few slides what am I actually meaning, but just I'm just giving an example that, for example, if you are developing a software, it has certain dependencies of libraries, right? Now once you have completed the code, you are giving this thing to the operational team. What if certain libraries are not present in the operational environment? What will happen? Your software will not work according to the aim, right? So because why? Because there were certain dependencies which were not fulfilled. The libraries which the software required was not present in the operational environment, which were present in the development environment. So your software is working perfectly fine in the development environment, but it is not in the operational environment. What will happen? Again, people will get frustrated. The developers will claim that it is working perfectly fine in my environment. There is some fault in your environment. The operational team will say, because we are operational environment, you must give us all the dependencies at the start, right? So these sort of mismatch, if happens at the last, when your software is actually going to be delivered to the client and there is a very tight schedule crunch, what will happen? Obviously the business that your company needs to have, that will be at stake. So instead of that, if you are getting that all the dependencies whatever we need, we will have such tools like Docker, right? So in that you have to just enter all the dependencies of your particular environment. You will get an image, and the operating environment will create this virtual environment settings, which will be the exact copy of development environment. Okay, so there are tools available in the market, which is also a very important part of DevOps. So please remember this name of one tool called Docker, which is very, very important in configuration settings of environment. So if you want to not install all the dependencies in the operational environment, you can just create an image of the development environment in the Docker tool. You can just download that image and you can have the settings on the operational environment, right? So this will create a more stable operating environment. The next is you can have more improved collaboration as well as communication between the clients as well as the development and operational teams. You will have more time to innovate. Why? Because you are just you can say above your schedule. I mean that you are now not delaying everything because you are using DevOps practices, you are using automation tools. So you will be able to think over certain things and you will be trying to innovate. Okay. Also, you can optimize the overall business because you're innovating. So you will totally dedicate your time towards innovation as well as maximize your efficiency, and you can focus on what the people actually want. So you will have abundance of time on client satisfaction rather than the mundane task of error correction. So these all are the business benefits that a DevOps offers you. Now the next thing is, what are, I told you that DevOps is a collaboration of different things, or it is a combination of different things. What are the different practices that you need to follow if you are claiming that you are performing DevOps in your company? So there are certain practices that you must include in your company if you are claiming to be performing DevOps. The first is process automation. So I told you that there are certain processes in your software engineering life cycle that can be automated. For example, your planning can be automated, your analysis can be automated, your schedule can be automated, your project management can be automated, testing can be automated. So these all are the things that can be automated. So there are different tools available which you can use, and for using these tools you must be aware about which tools are available, right? So there are certain tasks and there are certain tools related to that task. So one task may consist of, corresponding to one project management. Let's say take an example of one task, that is project management. In project management I need to allocate the task to a particular person, right? So the resource allocation, task allocation, these all are the subtasks of project management. Now there may be number of project management tools available in the market. You need to choose your tools according to your preference, according to your project, according to your needs, right? So the first thing that you need to perform as a practice in DevOps is you have to choose the right process automation tools. The next is, obviously, the next three things that we will again study in the next slides is continuous integration, continuous delivery, and continuous deployment. Now, the CI/CD, this is a very important term if you are talking with respect to DevOps. We will study in the next slides in detail what is continuous integration and continuous deployment. But for now, you need to understand that continuous integration, it means that you are doing the code, and whatever change you are doing inside the code, you just have to give it to the operational environment. So the development environment as well as the operational team, they must collaboratively work, and that thing has to be deployed on your operational environment. That is continuous deployment. Okay, so all the changes should be, you can say, integrated as well as deployed continuously in the development as well as operational environment. That sort of practice, if you follow, that is known as DevOps practices. The next is infrastructure as a code. As I told you that Docker is one of the tools. So configuration management is again the part of infrastructure as a code. So you have to provide the whole infrastructure. You have different sort of infrastructure, right? You have different sort of environment. I told you there is a development environment and there is an operational environment. There can be another environment that is known as a client environment, right? So there can be different types of infrastructure or different types of environment, which are, you can say, the testing environments or the real life environments. Now there are tools available in which you can configure these environments and just test your code in this respective environments. So infrastructure as a code, configuration management, these all are also the concept or practices that you have to follow if you are following DevOps. The next is, if you are claiming that you are following DevOps practices, there are 7 C's which are very important in DevOps. Let us see first what are these 7 C's, and then we will go inside the detail of every C. So the first C is continuous development. The second C is continuous integration. The third C is continuous testing. The fourth C is continuous monitoring. The fifth C is continuous feedback. The sixth C is continuous deployment. And the seventh C is continuous operations. So if you are following these 7 C's in your company, you can claim that yes, I am following DevOps. So let us start with the first C, that is known as continuous development. Now, what do you mean by continuous development? You know that planning and coding is one of the most important, you can say, software engineering activity, and you can say this is the initial phase of software. Now, during the planning phase, obviously the vision of the project is established as well as the scope, that is the boundary of the project, is decided. After the planning, developers actually begin to code. Obviously, there is a design phase in which you design the architecture of the software and then you code. You have different coding tools to maintain the code. You have to use this coding tool. You can automate certain code. You can use the APIs available in the market so that your coding is faster. So if you are using this all tools and you are developing, you can say, the software, then you can say that you are performing continuous development using the automation tools. The next important C is continuous integration. Now this is the main stage of the development life cycle. What happens? You must have heard about, you can say, version management tools like GitHub, right? Now, what is a GitHub? You know that if you are working collaboratively, you can have this GitHub as a platform. Also, if your software has different versions and if you are changing something into a particular version, it maintains this version management also. Okay. So if you are using GitHub, you might be aware about the concept of branches. You can create different branches in GitHub. Let's say I have a developer branch in which consists of certain source code. Okay. What happens? I am working collaboratively on the developer branch and there are certain source code which is part of this developer branch. If I want to make change in the developer branch, that is a source code that is a part of developer branch, what I will do? I will just have a pull request that I am making change in this developer branch. So everybody working with me can see that Shruti is working on the developer branch. So there is a pull request. What I will do? I will do the change and I'll commit the code. That is, I will push back the code to the branch, right? So this checking out of the code and checking in of the code maintains the code, right? So this is a code management tool, you can say. This is a version management tool, you can say. This is a configuration management tool because the overall configuration is maintained, right? So GitHub is a very good tool which you can use for committing the code, that is checking in and checking out of the code. Now, what do you mean by continuous integration? For continuous integration, there are different tools available that whenever there is certain, you can say, if there is a change in, let's say, developer branch, in my continuous integration tool, there is a tool named Jenkins. What does Jenkins do? It creates a continuous integration, continuous development pipeline. Okay, so there is a tool called Jenkins which is used for continuous integration. Let's take an example that if you have a GitHub account and if you have a branch called developer branch, So in Jenkins, I have written a script that whenever there is a code commit, or it means if you are changing some code in developer branch, what does Jenkins do? It just builds the whole software, your build of the code, and that is tested. So the unit tests are performed and the build is performed automatically. Sorry. And as soon as the code is tested via the unit test, the next phase is continuous deployment. That is your this code, because now it is built into the development environment, tested into the development environment. I have written the code in the continuous deployment script, that as soon as this continuous integration is happening, this whole code will be deployed in the environment, that is the actual operational environment, and that will be tested in the operational environment. Okay, so Jenkins, there are certain different tools used for this continuous integration and continuous deployment, and this is known as a whole pipeline. So whenever you can say that it is watching the code, so whatever code you are watching, continuously you are watching, if there is a change in the code, you have written the script, so the script automatically runs the code, builds the code, tests the code in continuous integration. That is what happens if you are using DevOps, right? The next is, as I told you, continuous integration. In continuous integration, you also have written the code for continuous testing. So there are certain testing which happens, unit testing, you can say that is the best testing which is performed using the tools. Also there are automatic testing tools like Selenium, TestNG, JUnit, which you can use along with this continuous integration tools. Okay, so because this rapidly manual testing has been replaced by automation testing, it saves a lot of execution time to run all the test cases, because I have written the test cases in the script. The script is running automatically and the test cases are executed automatically, and I'm getting the bugs. So this is continuous testing, which is also continuously checking the continuous integration script. The next is continuous monitoring. This monitoring is, as I told you, watching. So whenever you are watching certain code areas, you are watching the integration pipeline, you can get that what are the errors that you are getting. So monitoring is a phase where important information about the use of software is recorded, and you can potentially identify the areas which are problematic. Okay, so you are monitoring this with respect to, you can say, if the server is not reachable, if there are certain system errors, if there is a storage error, that is you have low memory, you can continuously track all these errors and you can just rectify them. Okay, because if you are not using this DevOps tools or you are not using these practices, all these errors will come at last and you will have this havoc created because you were not aware about these errors at the first. But due to this continuous monitoring, what happens, you are getting these errors and gradually you are getting these errors and you are rectifying them. The next after continuous monitoring is continuous feedback. So because you are analyzing the results from the operation, you can get the feedback. Constant feedback can be, you can say, received to the development team from the operational teams as well as the clients. The next after continuous feedback is continuous operations. So continuous operations are basically all the automation tools that you are using. Okay, the next is continuous deployment. I told you that there is a pipeline called continuous integration, continuous deployment, and this whole pipeline is nothing but it is a script written in tools like Jenkins. So the continuous integration script, that is just watching the, you can say, the source code in which the change is happening. So as soon as the change is happening, this continuous integration script is running and it is just building the code, running the code, and it is testing it in its own environment, that is development environment. As soon as the development environment testing is finished, continuous deployment script runs and this whole code is deployed into the operational environment, and you can at once deploy it into multiple environments as well. As I told you, there may be one operational environment, there may be one testing environment, there may be one client environment. So if you have three different environments, directly after running it into the development environment, you can just deploy it in three different environments in Jenkins as well. So these are all the tools which play a very important part in continuous deployment. So let us see what is this continuous delivery automated deployment pipeline. So I told you that, for example, if you have a GitHub branch called development branch, you will have a code checking in it. So as soon as the code is checking, obviously what will happen, because there is a continuous integration script written, this particular code will be compiled and built automatically. After automatically building and compiling, what will happen, automatic unit test will be run. After unit testing, there will be all sort of testing like acceptance testing, user acceptance testing, and then it will be released for production. So this is the continuous delivery pipeline. You can say continuous integration and continuous testing pipeline. So what do you mean by continuous testing? You have a code, you perform the first test, that is unit test and security test on your code. After unit test, you know the second step is, because the units are tested, now you need to combine the units and test it, that is integration test are performed. After the integration test, all the non-functional and system testing like security testing, performance testing is performed. After the performance testing, actual load testing is performed, and then the acceptance testings like alpha testing, beta testing is performed, and user acceptance with the actual users is performed, and then you are releasing it to the production. So this is the continuous testing pipeline. Now what is the benefit of continuous testing? Obviously, because you are testing your whole code continuously, whatever change you are doing, you are compiling, building, testing, compiling, building, testing. So these will identify all the critical bugs early in your software development life cycle. Also, it helps to assess the quality of your software developed, that whether you are developing a quality software or not. You will get more time to improve the code quality by faster test results. You will have minimum failure rate at the end of your release. Also, you will have faster time to market, and you will produce a viable product to the client with this continuous feedback mechanism, because you are testing it continuously. So these are all the benefits of continuous testing. The last thing that we need to learn in DevOps is you have to choose the right development tools. So the first, or you can say starting of the lecture, I told you that DevOps is a collaboration, a combination of practices, principles, tools. Now the most important part of DevOps is how will you choose the right development environment tools. So for this, you must follow certain guidelines. All the tools that you take into consideration before selecting, that should be based on the collaboration. That is, you know that the development team should work in collaboration with the operational team, so there must be the tools which can work in collaboration. So the key to choosing any tool is collaboration. That must be the first aspect of your tool. Also, you have to verify the main purpose of the tool. It should be collaboration. How does the tool actually help us in collaborating this development as well as operational activities? Also, you must try to choose the tools which provides you the application programming interfaces. You have variety of tools which provides you the APIs. Try to use that tools, and obviously, if you are focusing towards collaboration, if you are giving importance to the API tools, you will be able to choose the right tools. Also, there are expert opinions, or you can say you can just go to the market in software industry. What are the majority of the tools that are being used in the market? Analyze those tools, and then you can go for the best tool that is suited to your project, your company, as well as both the teams. So this is the main step, that is you have to choose the right tools, right? So there are testing tools, there is continuous integration and development tools, there is planning tools available, there is configuration management, version management tools available. So these all are the tools. I told you Docker is one of the tools, Jenkins is one of the tools, Selenium is one of the tools. So these are the tools which perform different tasks, which are very popular in the market. You have to choose these tools according to your needs. Okay, so this was all about DevOps, and this was all about today's lecture.